Welcome to this week's episode of Weekend Warriors. I just got done mowing the yard and it is a hot one here in, oh, there's that turkey vulture up there. We got a few of those that come by here. So if you're like me, you have a bunch of old decoys that could use some touching up. So this is something that I've wanted to do for many years now, but it's always been a little intimidating. But this is the year that I'm going to paint some goose decoys. So I gotta go dig them out here. I got them up on the wall and they're hanging out behind the boat back there. And along this wall, I have all my duck decoys set up there. So those are all looking pretty good. There's some of those that could be painted too, but I'm not gonna get into that right now. Right now, I'm after those full body decoys right there, and I'm gonna put some new life into them. So we're going to turn old decoys that look like this, faded paint, and they just need some touch-ups, and we're going to turn them into this and give some new life into those old decoys. I think that looks a lot better. So we're going to jump right in and I'm going to show you how we do this. First, we're going to need our supplies. We're going to need a table and some spray paint. Okay, so now that we got our supplies set up here, we're going to put the painted decoy aside. First thing, I'm going to go over the supplies here. So what I got here is a flat black spray paint. I'm using the Hunter Specialty spray paint for the black. And then I got the muddy brown color. And then also their marsh grass color. And then I just picked up a flat white of some Rust-Oleum primer. So now that you got all your paint and your colors, now you can experiment a little bit with the colors. You can try some different browns and some different tans. You can do khaki or a light tan. It's just kind of personal preference. I suggest getting a couple colors, trying a few test decoys, and paint them exactly how you like them. So the first thing that we're going to do is, if your decoy has a removable head, just take that right off. My full body decoys here have removable heads, so we're just going to put that aside. And what you want to do is make sure that your decoy is free of any dirt or anything like that. So I washed these decoys earlier. Just take a scrub brush, some soap and water, get them washed off, make sure that they're all dry and that surface layer is going to be able to hold the paint to it. So the first color we're going to put down, our tan color. So in this case, like I said, it's marsh grass. What we want to do is we want to give this a good base layer with this color. So I'm going to paint the entire top side all the way to the back. And even though we're going to cover up the back of it with the brown, we still want to get a good base layer of this tan, and that's going to give us the feather detail later on. So now that we got our base layer and we got everything covered, all of our feathers on the front and back, I'm not going to worry too much about where the white's going to go underneath, but anywhere that we're going to put the brown or we want that tan color to show through, I want to make sure we get a good coat. I want to set this aside and let this dry. Now that we allowed it to dry, we're going to put on our brown layer over top of this. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our brown and we're going to start in the front here. I'm going to go about halfway from where the head is. I'm going to go around and stop about halfway, leaving the bottom layer, the breast layer, open, leaving it that tan color. We just want the brown to start about halfway around the back, and we're going to go all the way back to the tail feathers. And it's really important to work yourself front ways to back ways, pointing the nozzle of the spray can very flat to the decoy. If you have decoys that have a lot of feather detail in them, that's going to allow that tan to still show through on the back side, and it's going to pop all those feathers really good. So we want to make sure that we work front to back, pointing that nozzle pretty much straight with the decoy. We don't want to come at it from the back like this or from the top. And I'm going to do one shot of darker right down the back to where the feathers would overlay, just to darken that up just a little bit. And then I'm going to go lighter as it goes around the bottom. I think that looks pretty good. So as you can see, we can still see that tan kind of coming through, and then from the front side. So we're going to allow this to dry, and then we're going to start with our next coat. Okay, now that we let that layer dry, we're going to start off with the third layer. The third layer is going to be our black spray paint. So what I'm going to do with this black is I'm going to first paint the black on the back side here where the tail wing feathers come together, they overlap. And then I'm going to get darker as I come up, and then a little lighter. And I'm actually going to put a layer of black over the brown, and it's going to make all of those little details really pop. So we'll start on the back side here. Now that we got our black on the back, I'm going to just lightly go, again, I want to do front to back with the black. I don't want to spray the black up underneath the back of the details in the feathers. I don't want to cover all that stuff up. So you can see when I spray just a little bit of this black on there, they really start making the feathers pop and everything else really come to life. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a little bit more, a little heavier right on these back feathers here, and that's really going to get that realistic look. And there we go. So as you can tell now, with that black added in on top of the brown, it really gave it that pop, that realistic look. So now we're going to let this dry a little bit, and then we're going to come in with our white. So our decoy is really coming along. It's looking really good. We got that thin layer of black over our brown, which really gives the details of all the feathers. And you can still see the tan through it, where every little bit where there was a little indent with those details of the feathers, that comes through, and it really gives it that lifelike look. So now I'm going to flip it over. I'm going to take our white paint, and I'm going to paint this white patch right under here. Now you can go farther up with your white underneath, but it really doesn't matter. The birds are never going to see that. What's the most important is the sides, the part that's going to actually see through. Now for extra detail, you can come back with black and paint the bottom of the legs. These particular decoys have these little stub legs. Some decoys don't, but that's all right. You can leave them like they are. I'm going to come back through though, and I am going to paint the bottom a couple inches black just to give it that a little bit more realistic look. So there you have it. It took me just a couple minutes to paint this decoy. The biggest thing is just to let the layers dry, but with your tan or khaki color, a brown, black, and white, you can turn your old looking decoys and give them new life this hunting season. And if you want to try to paint your decoys with these exact colors, I'll leave a link down in the description for what colors and brands of spray paint I use. And if you liked how these decoys turned out, click that like button. And don't forget to click that subscribe button and ring that bell so you get all the notifications when we upload a video. And as always, remember to take a kit on an outdoors adventure.